brown butter, dark chocolate, espresso, and toffee all mixed into one cookie. These are quite possibly the best cookies I've ever made before, and I'm going to show you how to make them. Now these cookies are so good. They are for the cookie connoisseur, and that's because we have our brown butter that's adding such a nutty, delicious note mixed in with that espresso. It just takes these cookies over the top. And then you've got large dark chocolate chunks with a little bit of toffee. These are addictive. They're so yummy, and I can't wait to show you how to make them. Let's get into it. So we're gonna start off by browning our butter. I have 142 grams of butter here, and if you are using imperial measurements, those are gonna be listed in the description box down below. So we're gonna melt our butter and let it come to a simmer, and we're just gonna kind of gently watch it and give it a good stir as the butter starts to brown. You'll wanna make sure that you're using a heat-proof spatula or a wooden spoon to melt your butter. So as the butter is simmering, the milk solids start to separate from the fat, and you'll notice that it starts developing what looks like crystals. You'll want to just keep stirring these until they become a nice toasty brown color, and your butter is an amber shade. That's when you know it's all done. So we have our browned butter here. This is really piping hot. So I'm just going to pop it into the fridge until it can solidify a little bit more. So our browned butter has now firmed up quite a bit, so we're ready to use it. And I am going to now start by creaming our butter with our sugars. I'm adding 142 grams of light brown sugar and 115 grams of granulated white sugar. And I'm going to turn my mixer on to medium-high for a couple of minutes until the sugars and the butter have been well combined. This recipe calls for 1 egg and 1 egg yolk, so I'm just separating the egg yolk from the egg white here. This just makes the cookies that much more chewy in texture. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to mix this on a low to medium setting until it's nicely combined. So now we're going to whisk up our dry ingredients. I have 120 grams of bread flour here, and this is going to really add to the chewiness of the cookie. And I'm combining that with 112 grams of regular all-purpose flour, and I have 8 grams of cornstarch here. This is also a secret ingredient to getting a nice chewy cookie. Then I have 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and also 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And lastly, I'm going to be using a tablespoon of our instant espresso powder here. I'm giving this a quick whisk. And now we're ready to add our dry ingredients to the wet. And I'm just going to mix this on low until it's incorporated. You don't want to overmix here. Gonna give the sides a quick scrape. So now I'm going to chop up some dark chocolate chunks. I recommend using a chocolate bar that you really love to eat, that just tastes really yummy and it's not too bitter. So this is about 130 grams of chocolate. I've cut this into very large, coarse chunks. So I'm setting aside some of the larger chunks just to go on the tops of the cookies. So I'm now just going to add in our dark chocolate chunks to our dough. And now I'm adding some toffee bits. I'm also going to set aside a little bit so that I can decorate the tops of my cookies with these as well. So our cookie dough is all mixed up and ready to scoop. I like my cookies nice and big, so I'm going to be using a size 24 cookie scoop. If you prefer smaller cookies or just more average size cookies, I would recommend using a size 40 scoop. And let's get scooping. And now I'm just going to lightly flatten each cookie just by hand. Now I'm scattering a few toffee bits onto each cookie, adding a few dark chocolate chunks to go on top. Now I'm going to pop these in for about 10 minutes in an oven set to 350 degrees, and I'm gonna check on them at that point and see if they might need another minute or two. So my cookies baked for 12 minutes total, and now I've just had them cooling, and they look seriously so good. Oh my gosh. They have a nice crackly top. They've got the toffee pieces on and the dark chocolate chunks. I cannot wait to dig into these. They look so delicious. Let's give it a try. These are amazing. They have a nice crisp outer edge, but the soft, chewy center just takes it over the top. These are so delicious. You guys have to give them a try. They are, without a doubt, the perfect cookie. These are so good. If you made these cookies, don't forget to leave a comment down below and tell us how it went. And as always, we hope that you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.